I'm Sonya Morton Firth, and you're tuned into the Sonya Morton Firth Show. Today, my guest is Cameron Else. Cameron Else is one of the top-ranked MMA fighters. Before Cameron became an MMA fighter, he started his career in the Paratroopers before becoming injured. He recently knocked out Aidan James, the Welsh favourite, in his debut fight at the Brave Combat Federation. Cameron, thank you so much for being a guest on my show. Why is it that you're an MMA fighter? What started you on that journey in the first place?
Obviously, when I was younger, I'd never done any combat sports or like got in any fights or anything like that. It wasn't really my thing. But what was, I wanted to join the army. So I joined the army, I joined the parachute regiment, and then it was actually me leaving the paras and me falling off track, getting in trouble and stuff, which ended up on me leading me to the MMA gym.
And when you were, how old were you when you were in the paras?
First 16, I went in at 16, and when I first left school, I joined the army, and then I got injured right near.
16's really young. Why did you go in the army at 16? Was it a calling, do you think, or?
In all honesty, and I don't really like saying this, but I'll say it how it is, I wanted to know what it was like to kill people.
You wanted to know what it was like to kill people?
Yeah, like in war for a reason.
Okay.
So I wanted to be a killer, I wanted to go to war, I wanted to fight for my country, and I wanted to kill bad guys.
And do you think that was at 16 because you'd watched loads of movies or something like that, or was it something more deep-rooted than that?
I think it was probably more deep-rooted. I mean, the way the army come about was through a best friend of mine. His dad was a paratrooper, and he was tough as nails, and he was the dad, like, you'd be like, whoa. But he was a really, really good dad, and he like said about the army, and I was like, oh yeah, what is you in? And he said about this parachute regiment, and it's like the elite. And I was like, oh, I could do that. And he was like, 112 people started and only like 8 of us passed. And I was like, okay, tell me more. And then that just really like, I thought I could do that. I know I could do that.
And what happened? Did you get, you served, didn't you? You served in Afghanistan.
I ended up, cut long story short, I passed out. I'd done the parachute course. There was 98 people that started, 8 originals of us passed. So again, see how difficult it is. I then went on to Afghanistan, 2008, served that in Afghan. After coming back off my tour, my hearing was completely shot. Lost my hearing, so... You
lost your hearing?
Yeah.
Was that through a battle? Or?
Yeah, it was actually on my 21st birthday. 21st birthday, we went out on an op to basically... The op was to go in and catch a Taliban leader who'd used a phone. So we was going in to get him out. Because he was like known for making IED explosives and stuff. So we was basically a support group for the whole of southern Afghanistan. So anyone in any trouble, we was on like an hour standby to jump on the choppers, fly in and get them out. So we was always in the thick of it. And we had actually been out for like 2 or 3 weeks on the ground. We come back in and I was like, yeah, it's my birthday tomorrow, thank God for that. And then we got called to the briefing room at like, later on that evening, we got told, oh, we're going out at 3 a.m. So I was like, oh, great, around my birthday. So then we went out, and then we spent basically the day going around trying to catch this guy. We ended up catching him, but throughout the day, it was going off like gun battles, like just battling back and forth, firefights. And then it was actually through Canadians. They were actually let off rapid, and the pressure from the guns and that hit the bank, and it like burst my eardrum. So then it was fine. I wasn't like in any danger apart from death.
Yeah.
And then we got back, and then they cleaned up my ear, and then they tried to make the best of it they could. But then I stayed the tour, and basically for the rest of the tour, it just got worse. So then I had to go see an ear specialist and that, and they were just like, your hearing's completely gone. And what ended up happening was I ended up getting MRSA in my ear.
What's that?
So MRSA is like a virus which can be very deadly if it gets into your bloodstream. Like you have to have your arm or your leg get amputated, or worse off, you end up dying from it. So because of how I had a bad ear infection, and so you have, just before your eardrum, you have like a wall.
Yeah. And
that was completely broken down. So I had no filter. So any ear infection, or especially being out on the ground, dirt just gets in. So then I used to have like snot coming out my ear throughout the whole,
That sounds
whole
gross.
time. And they kept wiping it and they kept syringing it, which they shouldn't have been syringing it because they was pumping water in. But instead, it's like a scab. Your ear needs to scab up, but they were breaking that down. So it's just a nightmare. But again, when we got back, I saw a number of specialists in that, and they just said, like, your hearing's gone. I failed the hearing test now. So now I weren't allowed to be around rifles or anything. So I got moved into a holding platoon, which was really shit because all my friends were in other platoons, were going off and doing the sniper course, and that's something I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just then started going out, drinking with my army friends, and then getting in trouble all the time. And then that's when one of my friends was like, "You've been arrested 4 weeks on the trot for fighting. You're gonna end up in prison. Let's go try out this MMA gym," because we had just started watching UFC.
Oh, so this was were you in Afghanistan when you had watched your first
Yeah,
fight?
yeah, when I was in Afghan, just before I went to Afghan, I discovered UFC and cage fighting. And it was very, very, like, no one really knew about it.
Yeah, because it's blown up over the last few years, massively.
Yeah, so it wasn't, but I saw it and I was just like, yes, this is me, I could do good shit here. So like, it really was something that I was hooked on watching, and then I started watching it all with my friends. And then obviously when I come back and I got into all that trouble, my friend was like, "Look, let's find a gym. You say you could do it." So I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." So he found a gym, and it was about an hour and a half away. And I remember driving there with him. We got there, went into this gym called Semtex Gym. It's in Orpington, and there was this little Brazilian guy. And I looked at him and I was like, "What? He's a cage fighter like that?" And then he was actually training someone else at the time in a private lesson, a guy called John Joe Ellis, who was a professional. And yeah, we trained, and I got my ass kicked. And I couldn't believe it. I was just like, I'm a father, and
you were a father at this point,
yeah? I was a father, I was a young father.
And you were still young, right?
Yeah,
how old were you?
21,
21,
so
yeah. Okay.
I was like, this is crazy. I couldn't believe it. I was just baffled. And I walked out of the gym and my friend looked at me like, "You got your ass kicked." I was like, "So did you." But I said, "Listen, this isn't right." I said, "I'm going to go home." I said, "I'm going to do this for the rest of my life." I said, I'm going to come back and get this kid. I'm going to beat this man up. I'm going to smash him. I can't have that. And he's like, "What are you going to do then?" I said, "I'm going to go home and play my last football game," because I was playing football for a pub team in my local town. I said, "Then I'm going to tell the boys and I'll become the next greatest fighter."
So at this point, you'd given up the army.
Yeah, like the army was just like, I was waiting to be released basically.
Yeah, but you were getting into fights when you were going up.
I was aspiring out of control. Like, in all honesty, I were. And
did you end up? You said before you didn't end up in prison.
No, I didn't. Lucky for me, I didn't end up in prison. I think what saved me from going to prison was my army background and the fact I'd just been at Afghan. So actually, what had happened then was, so I was still in the army, and then I started, like, obviously I went home, and then I played that last football game. And I remember telling the guys in the changing room what was going to happen, and then I went out, played the football game, and I dislocated my knee. And I couldn't believe it. I was devastated. And the first thing I was laying on the pitch with my knee like all twisted up, waiting for the ambulance to come up to pop it all back in. I remember saying to him, like, "Fuck's sake, I was meant to be starting fucking training Monday." He's like, "Don't worry about that, mate. Look at your knee." I was like, "Oh, I'll be alright, I'll be alright." And they're like, "It's your ACL, mate, you got a year at least." I was like, "No, I'll be alright, it's nothing. They're like, "It's your ACL. Your ACL's like up to 18 months. So the ambulance turns up, they pop my leg back in, I go to hospital, I get told, "Yeah, no, you got to wait for an MRI scan, but by the look of it, you've done your ACL and probably other ligaments. I was in cast up to my hip, back to the army. The army are like, "Now he's on cast, he can't do anything." So they were like even more pissed off at me. And then my friend was like, "What are you going to do now?" I said, "Listen, I'm coming to every class that you go to."
So in a way, that breaking your leg, doing your ACL, sort of changed your life.
It did. At the time, where I think now, it was a real low time for me in my life. I'm not joking. It was I just didn't know what was going on, but I knew that I was in the process of possibly getting told to leave the army.
And you were a father as well. How were you supporting your son?
Yeah, through obviously my army, like through the army life. But like the savage thing about it all was, I didn't realise, you don't realise at the time when you're that age how young you were until now looking back at pictures. And
Trust me, when you get to my age, you look back at your age and go, wow.
Right. But so I come back and I said to my friend, I'm still going to come to every class. He's like, really? I said, I'll come with you every time. Because he thought I was just going to then go back out drinking and that. But I was like, no, like I'm hooked. So I did. I went with him to every class. And then my behaviour changed in the army. So I was actually being good now, like, because I went out drinking.
Yeah.
And things started to look okay for me. And I just couldn't wait to get on the mats. And then I get told, I get a meeting from one of my sergeants, and he's like, you're doing really well, your soldiering skills are brilliant, we want to basically get you promoted to Lance Jack if you carry on this good behaviour. I was like, great, sweet. At least like, I've got an army career, and my hearing, even though it was told it was done, they said the likelihood is it's going to come back. So everything was like, I was thinking, oh, great, wicked.
You thought your
Yeah.
career in the army was...
But then one day, I remember getting called to the office, and I was like, that's weird. Called down, and the sergeant's there, and he's like, got his head in his arms. And he didn't really like me anyway. I didn't like him. And
Didn't punch him, did you?
no, at the time, the recession kicked in.
Yeah.
Okay, so when the recession kicked in, everyone was losing jobs.
Yeah.
People were getting kicked out of the army and cut from the army like a drop of a hat. So I walked in, and my sergeant's got his head down, and I get called into like where my captain was, and he's basically like, don't know how to tell you this. I'm like, what? They said, you got to leave the army tomorrow. And I'm like, what? They said, yeah, you're gone. I was like, how am I gone? They said, service no longer required. And I was like, that's bullshit. They said, you got arrested so many times, and you was on a bender, which a bender is basically if you fuck up within 3 months, then you'll get kicked out of the army. So I was like, I haven't been on a bender. And they were like, I said I was waiting to go in front of the RSM, like the top dog, to be put on this plan because of my behaviour. And I was like, I haven't had this meeting. They were like, well, listen, you're going, end of. And the sergeant was like, you're going. And I was like, do you know what? Fuck you. And I just like threw my berry at him. Because now I'm like, shit, I'm getting thrown out on the streets. Like, I just didn't know what to think. I was only young. I was just like, mind going all over shit. I was like 21, like. So I was actually 22. My head just wasn't in it. So I remember walking back to the barracks, and the sergeant's now following me, and he's like trying to tell me to march, and I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah, I'm not in the army anymore.
Like, like, this is bullshit. Like, you can't chuck me out like this. Like, you can't. You just basically sound service no longer required because my hearing, and then they're like, oh yeah, you don't want to take another job. And I'm like, no, I'm a paratrooper. I want to go back to war with my friends. Like, we lost friends out there, lost brothers and that. So I want to go fight. That's what I am. I'm a fighter. I'm a killer. Like, that's what I do. So I remember going back to my room, and I was having to unpack my stuff. And obviously, being a man and being in the army, we collect rounds and ammunition just for like trophies.
Just for laughs.
Yeah. So I pulled down my bag and emptied it onto the bed, and like all this like this jimpy rounds, like machine gun rounds, shamoos. I'm like, shit. So I put them back in the bag. I'm like, fucking hell. Like, I had like smoke grenades. I know everything. So I ran around into my mate's room, knocked on his door, take that bag. So I was like, take the bag. So he took the bag, and then I carried on packing all my stuff up. Literally next day I didn't get told I'm going in front of I went and saw the Padre and I explained my situation to him, and he was like, there's nothing I can do, but when you get in front of the captain, you get to speak to him, and you'll get to make him aware that you hadn't been for this meeting and you're not on a 3-month bender. Because I weren't, and you only, is what it is, you have to wait, and then you have a meeting, and once you have your meeting, then you sign to agree, like your circumstance, sign it. Once you've signed it, your 3 months start from that date. It had been like 2 months since I'd been in trouble. I was on the up, like I wasn't drinking, I found martial arts, I like all this positive fibre and that.
So did you feel a bit of an injustice had been done?
Oh, massively. Like, I know.
And you'd fought, you'd fought for your country.
Completely, absolutely shocking how it was handled. It was disgusting. And at the time, I was going through a real rocky patch with my girlfriend, the mother of my kid. So I was like, I'd pretty much broken up with her. And now I'm thinking, I'm getting basically kicked out of the army. And I've got no job. They stopped my pay straight away, and I'm thinking like, what am I going to do? I'm a paratrooper. I'm like this.
So is that when you reached your low point, one of your lowest points?
Yeah, like I was saying, that is the lowest of low. And each time I look back at it now, it just takes it lower. And I think because the way the parachute regiment raised me and like trained me into like this killer and this mindset of literally, it's like, I think it's a common problem I'm seeing in today's society of like with mental health is, oh, fucking toughen up, soldier. Like, get your head on it. Like, just get on with it. Just fucking get on with it. So I literally had that mentality. So at the time when I was in it, I was kind of like, I didn't know how to react, and I was only young. And
did you have any help? I mean,
what
about your family?
No,
I mean, you've come out.
I was embarrassed. So for me, I didn't want to. I couldn't ring up my nan and tell her I'm out. I'm not a para-nan no more. Like I felt like in my hometown, people looked at me like kind of like not like an icon or something, but someone to look up to me like, he's in the paras. Cameron's in the parachute regiment. Like, that's crazy. Like, he's been in Afghan. He's doing
and
things.
then suddenly you're being knocked off.
Drop of a hat, just gone. So I remember the next day come to me having this meeting with the captain. I thought, right, yeah. So basically, the next day come and it's meant to be the time I get to have my speech with the captain. And what happens is you have to be out. I had to be there at a certain time, and this is the sign to say I'm leaving. And in order for me to be there, I have my sergeant there beside me because I need someone there on my side to make sure that I get my say and it's fair.
Yeah, like a lawyer, I guess.
Right, yeah, exactly like that, exactly like that. So the party tells me, you're going to have that, and I was like, all right, so who am I having? Like, it has to be sergeant. I'm like, my sergeant don't even like me. So great. But as long as I get my say, and once I tell the captain that the RSM's never had a meeting with me, I'm not on this bender, then like they should let me stay in. It's like, yeah. So I turn up, 2 o'clock, my sergeant's not there. I then get told there's a provost sergeant there who then marches me into the room. He goes, I'm going to march you in. I'm like, hang on, where's my sergeant? And don't worry about it. Like, just get in the room. So I'm basically getting fucked over. So then I march into the room. I slam my tabs in front of the captain. The captain doesn't even look me in the eyes. Just head down. He's like reading from his script.
Yeah.
You got arrested back in this date, and you got arrested this weekend. So therefore, you got arrested 2 weeks on the trot. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, and you're hearing blah blah blah. Service no longer required. Like, because you can't do the job, carry out the job that you basically were asking of you. Please sign here. And I was like, well, do I get to talk now, sir? And then the provost sergeant shouted at me, fucking sign there, Joe. Like, and I was like, what the fuck? And I just went, you know, fuck the lot of you. And I just signed the paper, and then I just walked out. And I walked out, and they went, right, fuck off. And just literally...
And no help, no aid,
help,
nothing. Even like mentally, because you're in this like...
Yeah, so I'm just in this bubble, and I'm like, I can't believe it. And then I get in my car's all packed up, and I drive out. And I'm just like, what the fuck am I going to say to people? I went home, and obviously I was split up with my missus at the time, and I had no job, I had nothing to do, or shit, and I managed to get a job doing courier work, like driving lorries and that. And it was actually in a place called Whitstable, and it was at the back of a Tesco's car park was their company. And I didn't want to go to my nan's because I didn't want to put the pressure on her. I didn't want to go to my family. I just felt like I'd let everyone down. So I literally pretty much stayed in my car for like 2-3 weeks. What I was doing, I was sleeping in my car, waking up, and then going into Tesco's, sort my shit out, and then jumping in the lorry, driving all day. And then at the time, I took my first amateur fight. I went in and I won the fight.
What does it take to have that mental attitude going through all that you've been through? You've just been chucked out the army, you're living out your van, you're eating from Tesco stuff, your girlfriend, you know, you don't know what's going on with your girlfriend. Yeah. What mental, like, what sort of situation goes through your head?
I think at the time, it was just like my army mentality. I had no thought process to think about, feel sorry for me, because that's not what we do. When you're out at war, you don't sit there and feel sorry for you because you stubbed your toe. You still got to get up and go and fight. Like, it's just the way it is. You just get up.
So how many times, one of my favourite films, Rocky, and that saying where Rocky Balboa keeps getting punched, and it doesn't matter how many times you get punched, it's how many times you get up. Yeah,
exactly that. The more you think about it, the more you give yourself reasons to doubt yourself, the more you give your reasons to feel sorry for yourself and look for excuses. Society now, the way the government works nowadays, it makes it okay for everyone to be a little bitch and just roll over and...
Well, snowflake. We hear this word snowflake everywhere. I mean, it's not my generation. I see it and it's like...
It's bad. So I just think, like, my mentality was like, one thing, I'm a man's man. If I shake your hand, and a man is only as good as his word. That is it, period. In today's society, you're only as good as your word. Don't matter about anything else. So I kind of I raise my kids in that way. If you give your word, stay true to it, because that's all that matters nowadays. Because I always say to them as well, only believe in half of what you see and half of what you hear, because the way the media, they can make something look saying one way and the other. You can hear something, but if you heard it from someone else's side of point of view, it's completely different. So believe in half of what you hear and half of what you see, but remember, the words that come out of your mouth are the truest thing to you. So stick to that.
Speak your truth.
Stick to that. So if I say I'm going to fight someone, I'm going to fight. No, I'm going to turn up.
So tell me, today you're a professional MMA fighter, and more recently you've just had your debut at the Brave Combat. Now, I heard that you knocked out the Welsh favourite in 59 seconds.
Yeah.
What is that? I mean, when you go into that fight, what's going through your head? What mentality do you have to get into?
I think whenever I get given my opponent first, like when they first give me a name, I have to get that feeling in my heart, like, whoa, like a bit nervous. Like, I'm a bit like, okay, shit, it's real. And then I'm a bit like, I wouldn't say worried, but I'm very like, my heart rate's going, and I sit there and I think about it and think, oh, he's good, he's here and there. And in the moment I've done that little process, and it takes a day of me continuously thinking about it. I've already said yes, I'm going to fight the guy, because I'll just say yes to anyone.
Have you visualised it?
Yeah.
Do you do any visualisation?
Yeah, I visualise it a lot. But and the moment I start training, then I realise I'm a fucking badass, and I know what I'm good at.
Do you do affirmations? Do you ever look at yourself in the mirror and go, I'm fucking going to kill him?
No, I don't do that. I won't look in the mirror and talk to myself in the mirror. I think, no, that's cheesy. Don't do that. But no, I definitely, I go in a steam room or sauna every night, and I use that as like a meditation. And I'll sit there and I'll picture so many different ways of winning the fight and how I'm going to win or what I'm going to do. And I visualise it to the point where I take it in as a feeling.
Okay, okay. So
then,
you've got that feeling inside.
Yeah, the feeling, like
that's important.
I make it that real to me, where I've literally done it already. I know what it feels like to knock him out, and literally what the crowd's going to be. Because they've analysed
sprinters, and they've actually measured their heart rate, and they've said once they visualise it, they can see that their heart rate and stuff goes up, as though they're there.
Yeah, so I will do that through all my training up to the fight. Like I literally visualise it so much, and
you invoke these feelings.
And then like with this opponent, it was one of the first times where I watched him. I watched a couple of his fights, and after I literally watched a couple of times, and then I'm like, got him. I know.
So you know where to hit him, where to make
exactly. I knew some of the good stuff he does, but I also coach professionally at a high level. So some of the guys I've coached are in the UFC, and they're like the top end of the UFC. So as being a coach, I have to analyse and study opponents. And one of the things I do, which some of my guys don't like, they'll be like, cheers, mate. But I will go from the other side and go, if I was, say for example, if I was Aidan James, I would watch Cameron Else, and then I'd sit there with my notepad and pick how Aidan's going to beat me. Okay? So now I've written down, if I was teaching Aidan, this is how he beat Cameron. So then I've got all his weak points. So like when I coach...
Do you know? So you know what he's going to do?
Yeah. The more that the level that I'm at now, it's not a fight. Forget about the whole... Everyone puts it down as a fight. It's a fight if you don't know how to fight or what's really going on.
Okay,
you just see a fight. It's a game of chess. It's mastermind. It's magnificent. It's beautiful.
But you could kill someone. I mean, no one's been killed in MMA, but
I know what you're saying.
You could do some damage, right?
So it's all chess, and it's when you're fighting at this level. This is how I explain it. A fight is somebody who down the pub has 3 pints, 5 pints, so gets drunk, has a disagreement, they swing punches, and the average fight lasts about 8 seconds, and it hits the floor, and either gets broken up or someone gets hurt. that's a fight. But at our level, it's a game. It's a game plan. It's mastermind. It's chess. I'm going to do these 2 moves to bring him over to here to take out that. And it's the same like with ground fighting and jiu-jitsu. Like when I grapple and I fight on the floor, I'll take out your right arm, so it's out of use. So now I've got 2 arms against your 1 arm. So now the advantage is with me. Same with chess. I'll take out your pieces and get to your main body. So it's not a fight. It's more of a game plan and a strategy. But in terms of my mental side of things, going back to obviously getting to the point about what I felt when I come walking down to the cage. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, literally, you got all the crowds.
I literally just have.
Screaming.
I'm so confident, and I feel so relaxed to the point where this time was my first time ever. If you took my heart rate while I was in the cage, it was probably still low 50s.
So explain pumped. That. So you're confident, which presumably gives you the edge against...
I think because I've done it 1,000 times in my head. I've had the heart rate, I've had the pumping, blood go through me, sitting in a sauna.
And how do you bring it down?
Just literally, like anything in life, number 1 rule I got taught when I learned how to scuba dive, what is the golden rule? Don't panic.
Don't panic, okay.
And that's with anything in life. The moment we panic, we cluster our mind and we don't focus, and then a small problem becomes a big problem. So as long as we can maintain our calmness, we can have time to think about the problem in front of us and come up with a solution. So, and that's the same with fighting, and that could be the same in business. Like, there's 2 types of people in the world. There's the person that will always find a problem to the solution, and the person that will always find a solution to the problem. So it depends what type of person you want to be. Like, I'm a problem solver. So I used to always have in my mind that to every problem in life, there's a solution. It just no matter how hard you want to find it. And
that's what you take into the fight.
I take that into the fight. So the person in front of me, I know he's very good in what areas. So I'm not going to play to that area. I'm going to play to my strength.
Okay.
I think the key thing is keeping calm and not panicking. Because the one thing you can't train for, which is really hard, as a combatman or anyone in the professional element or anyone like taking a test, is adrenaline. Okay, you can do it as many times as you want, sitting at home in the comfort of your home, right? And you won't feel the adrenaline. But I go sparring in the gym, weekly, against some of the best fighters in the world, and I have no adrenaline there, and I flow, and everything's perfect. But when you add adrenaline to you, it slows you down. It makes your muscles heavy in that because there's adrenaline. So there's a thing called adrenaline dump where you get too amped up and then your body crashes.
Yeah.
And that's true, that does happen. So you can't train, and it's really hard to train for that adrenaline inside a gym because you're not going to get pumped.
So you relax yourself.
So I need to be relaxed. I need to try as much as you need to counter your adrenaline with it. So as much as I can feel the flow of adrenaline coming through me throughout the day. But I don't really think too much about it at all. And I don't overthink it. I think everybody overthinks in life. When you overthink any problem, it becomes a big problem. Like one thing we always get told in anything you do, don't overthink it.
Don't overthink it. I'm very guilty of overthinking.
Yeah, everyone does. And something in their life, they overthink it. And you could do that with fighting, you could do that with anything. So I think that the key for me in this fight especially, I was so calm and relaxed. I remember going down to the cage. I knew what I had to do. I knew what job I had to do. And the best way of me actually achieving my job and accomplishing what I set out to do is by saying calm, relax, and not panicking and not rushing it. And just get a feel for it and just remember.
Do you think you've got the winning factor? Do you think that's it? Do you think that's part of...
Yeah, I do. There's other ways that I now believe, like strategy, like how to win a fight. But I won't say that because I don't.
You might give the opponents the game away. What about your training? Do you have any sort of rituals that you keep to every day?
I try and run every day. I run 3 miles every day. It doesn't matter how tired I am. It doesn't matter how fatigued I am throughout the day. I run 3 miles minimum. So again, that comes down to mental training. Like I train when I'm in America. I train like 3 or 4 times a day, and like people go, "Oh, you're lucky you're out in America." I'm like, listen, you won't last one day of mine. Like when there's a difference between going 9 till 5 job and sitting there and not taking anything away from people doing 9 to 5 job. But when in my job, I go to the gym for an hour and a half and I push my body to the ultimate limit.
Yeah.
I can't afford to switch off because I get hurt, I get knocked out. So I push and I'm always trying to excel and take my body to the next level.
There's a dedication involved that is...
And then it's like the diet, like you've got to diet, you've got to put it right.
Tell me
foods,
about,
sleep.
So I've done bodybuilding and I've competed a couple of times. And I know what it's like to cut.
Yeah.
And that was horrendous. It's the worst 3 months and I've done it a few times. What's it like though with you in terms of, because you need your energy, you need presumably...
As much as, it's like one of those things, like, as much as people don't like dieting, I'm one of these, and when I say to my clients and people that I work with, and they're always going on about like it's hard to diet and that, the first 2 weeks is hard because you're eating clean food. And the most addictive drug in the world, I'd say, is sugar.
Sugar, definitely.
So it's more, they say it's more addictive than cocaine and any drug. And I think it's very, very true, I believe. I've got a sweet tooth like most people have. And I think the easiest way to challenge someone today is say, go 2 weeks solid without one bit of bad sugar.
Yeah.
Like you can have fruit, but don't have any
you become
sweet
addicted of
chocolate.
I remember thinking about, I used to watch cookery programs. I was just addicted
Yeah,
to
it does,
food.
and people don't realise how addictive it is. So, and also people don't. Also, another thing that I think that people really need to talk about more is how much our taste buds change. So when you're eating greasy foods and shit food and sugars and that, your taste buds adapt to that. Our bodies adapt better to anything. Like our whole bodies just adapt so well. Like our bodies are so magnificent. But you're in the water, you get wrinkly hands. That's not because you're getting old. That's for your grip.
To adapt, yeah.
Right. So with your taste buds change. So after 2 weeks of eating clean, an avocado, there's so much taste to it.
Yeah.
But if you've been eating shit and then you have an avocado, you're like, oh, it's bland. It tastes like whatever. So So I would say like getting past the sugar, and then when you actually start to eat clean, you start realizing you don't need to put sauce on your food.
Yeah,
it actually tastes so good. And then the fuel I'm putting in my body, the broccoli and the natural veg and the meat and or whatnot, I'm literally going into training with the best comfort in my body, which gives me... Are
you clean like 100% of the time?
Yeah,
in a run up to
much.
Lifestyle, or is it a run up to a fight?
Lifestyle-wise, I'm quite lucky in a way that I would never really put on weight, but I think that's just because I've always been so active.
Yeah.
I still like pretty much run 3 miles every other day now, as well as I train still every day. I took 4 days off since that fight. I took 4 days off.
So tell me, do you think it's mentality, or do you think it's the training that wins you that fight?
Mentality. 100%. 90% of the fight is one. Yeah.
When we were chatting earlier, you said something to me that I'm still thinking about. You said you were a killer.
Yeah.
And you were born killer.
Yeah.
Tell me about that, because that's really interesting. Most people, if you said that to, they would think you were a psychopath.
Yeah.
I've spoken to you now for a couple of hours, and I don't think you're a psychopath. I think you're a very intelligent guy, actually. But tell me about that killer instinct.
I think you've either got it or you haven't got it. I think, well, in fact, roundabout, I think everybody's got it, but where you need to find it.
Because I know if someone hurt anyone I love, my friends, or did anything, I've got that killer instinct in me. I think part of it's because I'm from Newcastle. Other than that, you know, you walk into a cage and you don't know a guy, and you're ready to kill him.
Yeah. So there's two things. Like I look at it, I'm an alpha male, and I say that with pride because I believe in today's society you're losing the alpha males, and I think you're losing the alpha male for the reason of the way that everybody's so protective. Like everybody's so protected. Like the government protects everyone. You can't say anything. Oh, because you're hurting someone's feeling.
Yeah.
Like fuck that. Like I'm that old school guy where when I walk into, put it this way, there's two types of guy. You got a guy who's got all the money in the world, and he can sit there in a bar and he can pretty much buy what he wants, have what women he wants, does what he wants because he's got money. Then you got another guy that walks in who hasn't got the money, but he's got the power. And what's the power is that no one fucks with that guy because he'll beat you up. Okay, this is going like he will beat you up if he had to, and you can beat up anyone in the bar. So that guy walks in, and say like you've got the guy sitting there with all the money, the girls. the girls are only there for one reason, really, because of the money and the glam, what it brings them. But when that powerful guy walks in, if he tells that guy there sitting down, get the fuck up and get out of my pub, that guy gets up and leaves. So the attraction there, and I think naturally, like if you was to take away all laws, people are attracted to the alpha male more than anything
confidence.
else.
I mean, as a woman, you're attracted to the confidence.
Yeah, the confidence and the fact that if there was no
but
government...
we're all told these days, and I've got to say I agree with you, but we're all told, you know, men should become softer and get in touch with their emotions. And I'm not saying men shouldn't get in touch with their emotions.
Behind closed doors, in ways like to the people that are at your table. Like, you haven't got to be to the world, but to the people that mean most
something to you,
then,
that you trust, that you're open to.
Why not? But I think going back to like what makes me a killer, I think is the fact that my whole life I've always been a fighter. I've trained to obviously go out and kill, but I just think I've got that button where I can switch it on and switch it off.
So, Conor McGregor, he's just been interviewed by Tony Robbins, and obviously everyone knows Conor McGregor. What do you think? What are your views on Conor McGregor? Isn't he someone that you'd like to fight?
In all honesty, I wouldn't be here and be like, oh yeah, calling out Conor McGregor. For one, I'm not actually in the UFC yet, so it'd be a different ball game when I'm in the UFC. But then also, on like a personal note and being real to myself, I don't think I'd ever call him out regardless, because I feel everybody in the UFC or anybody in the world wants to like use his name. Like, oh, I'll fight Conor McGregor because they all want that money fight. Listen, Conor McGregor's done what he's done, and he's got to his level because of what he's worked hard for and got there. Regardless of how he got there, he done it himself. Everyone's trying to latch onto him and try and be like leeches and like, oh, I want to jump on Conor McGregor because I'll then get paid $2 million because I'm fighting Conor, even though Conor's going to get $13 million for the fight. I'm like, fuck that guy. Like, fuck McGregor. Like, when I'm in the UFC, I'm not going to be needing Conor McGregor. I'll be the money fight. I'm going to be the next fucking era. I'll be the guy that people are going to be like, I want to fight Cam because they're the $1 million fights. Like, I don't need Conor McGregor once I'm in the UFC. Once I'm in the UFC, the floor is mine. And trust me when I say it, it's a matter of time, and I will fight in the UFC. And when I do get there, I will be the next big fight. Like, it'd be my name that people are trying to then shout out, and I'll be saying the same to them, like Conor does. You fucking leeches. You're hanging off the back of me. You all want my money fight. Like, I just love fighting. If I won the lottery tonight, I'd still be fighting. I'd just be like, sweet, I can move to America full time and become the best.
Okay, on that note, you can't fight forever. I'm presuming there's like an age that you think, okay, I've got to hang my gloves up, whatever. Yep. What are you going to do after that?
After that, I think, I honestly believe that I'm going to go down as like one of the greatest coaches in the world. And
is that your legacy? Is that what you want to leave behind? I know you've got kids.
Yeah, I think my legacy would just be someone that was known to say how it is, always bring the fight. And I think that regardless, if you look at any of my fights, it don't matter where I am on the card, I'm the people's main event. Like, people want to watch me fight. So I think when people hear my name, the first thing they're going to say is, fucking animal.
Killa Cam.
He's a killer, man.
How did you get that nickname?
Well, Killa Cam's actually obviously my fight promotion's name, and weirdly enough, it doesn't actually come because my name's Cam. It actually comes from Call of Duty, an Xbox game, and they have at the end of after you finish a game of Call of Duty, it comes up the kill cam, which is the final kill, and you get to rewatch it in slow motion. So I done Killa Cam in terms of Killa Cam catches the deadliest moments inside the octagon. So for my promotion, it's all about us capturing that killer shot, that final blow. So that's where Killa Cam name actually come from. But obviously me being Cameron, everyone's like, Killa Cam, you're a killer. And obviously me fighting and the way I speak, I suppose it kind of does like fall in with me.
And you wear your beret as well. That's
yeah. I think any opportunity that you're in the light and you can have the opportunity to shine the light on someone else or something else, you should. I don't think people do that enough. And I think that even though, like, obviously earlier I was talking about the army and obviously I felt very mistreated on how I left, that doesn't change my love for the paras and my brotherhood. Like, my friends.
You're very loyal to them,
right?
right?
Yeah, very loyal to them.
You've got a tattoo. Have you got of your regiment?
Yeah, on my chest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Might get that in the B-roll.
So, yeah, I wear I wear that headdress, obviously, to my fallen brothers that didn't make it back from Afghan and other places. Anyone that's died under the Cat badge, or anyone that's died for the country, really. Like, it's not just the parachute regiment. I think all veterans around the world need to be put out there. I don't think as a world there's not enough done. As a nation like England, shocking that there's not enough support for the military. So yeah, I wear the maroon with pride, and when I put that on my head, I'm now I'm fight mode. I'm coming.
Cameron, coming to the end of the interview, so I'm going to ask my usual last question, and that's if you were to write a message in a bottle for future generations, what would that message be?
That's a really good one. I feel like I need 2 bottles or 3 bottles. But I think I'd like to try and just bring the world together more. And I think that there's so many people putting so many quotes out there. I think if there was one quote that everyone had to live by, is treat others how you want to be treated.
That's great. Cameron, thank you so much for being a guest on my show. Loved it.